Your media, where you are. Get ready, steady, and let's set those body goals. Your Health Fix with Mo, a body and mind journey to a healthier you.
Hello and welcome to the Health Fix with me, your boy Mo, with another exciting episode. And today we talk about the science of movement. It's common knowledge that the human body needs to move to stay healthy, and have a increased quality of life as we grow older. And today in the studio, I've got somebody to further elaborate on how we do that in our daily lives, how we integrate movement into our daily lives. He went to school for it, he studied for it. He's not a doctor yet. Are you a doctor yet?
No. Never, not on the scope to be one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got a biokineticist in the building tonight to talk about the science of movement. The whole show is going to be based on how we integrate movement in our daily lives and why it's important. And also we talk about the profession and when it started and how it's what are the trends in that profession. And also there might be a little bit of beef between them and another profession that is similar to theirs. We will further elaborate on that as well. This is the Health Fix with your boy Mo. Khensani, how's it, bro?
Hello, Mo. Thank you for that well-organized introduction.
Oh, well,
Yes.
thank you.
Awesome, man. Thank you for having me on the show.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
Thank you for pulling through, man. Thank you
Okay.
for pulling. I always appreciate it when the
Yeah.
guests honor their invites and they come through.
Yeah.
I mean, to show love to us because
Yeah.
it's tough.
Oh, brother, I wouldn't miss this for the world. It's such an honor to be here.
Thank
man.
you for coming
Yeah.
through, man. Thank you for coming through. So let's talk
Yes.
biokinetics.
Yeah.
How did it start for you?
How did it start for
why
me?
biokinetics? For
Why
you?
Biokinetictist? Let me actually tell you a very funny story. Up until the age of 18, so it's right after school, going to university,
Yeah.
finishing school, going to university. I had no idea what a biokineticist was. I'll be honest with you. I just knew a doctor, physio, the other allied professions, right? So I used biokinetics as a way to get into medicine at a later stage, okay? And I kept those same aspirations for the first 2 years of my studies. But then something changed in my third year when I started doing the practical stuff. So the first 2 years is all, theory, learning anatomy and all of that. The third year is you actually step into the life of a bio, into the shoes of a bio, what they do. And I was blown away. It was amazing. The benefits of exercise go beyond the aesthetics. It's therapeutical, it's rehabilitative. And I never looked back. So yeah, that's basically how I got into it.
Okay, so that's your why.
That's
right?
my why.
And
That's
now,
my-
you spoke a little bit about the benefits of being a bio, the benefits of actually moving your body, right?
Exactly.
Whether be therapeutic and not just being aesthetic. Because we usually go to the gym for aesthetics, man. Because some are body ready. Because we always want to be ready for the summer. my boy.
Exactly,
But
yeah.
it goes beyond that, right?
But, yeah.
So I'd like you to further elaborate on what is biokinetictist and what it is that you do.
Okay, so it's a whole other side to the coin, like you said. It's not just for aesthetic, okay? So let's break down the word. Bio, meaning human or biology, okay? Kinetics, referring to movement, all right? So biokinetics is the science of using exercise and manipulating human movement for rehabilitative purposes, okay? So it can be issues, for example, it's a common issue, osteoarthritis with the knee, all right? Osteoarthritis is a common medical condition that results in wear and tear of the cartilaginous structure between your femur and your tibia, or your thigh bone and your leg bone, right? But that's the reason why this degeneration of that structure is because the muscles around that structure are either weak, tight, or there's some type of imbalance. And that's how the movement comes into, and understanding the kinetic component as referring to the biological knowledge, strengthening the joints, supporting it so that there's less wear and tear in that.
It kind of almost seems to me like it's a reactionary practice. So that I would have to see you after I get injured more than I'd have to see you before I actually start my process of movement.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Look, okay. By the nature, biokinetics is secondary. So it's not primary healthcare, it's more secondary. In fact, tertiary as well. So we lost on the chain with health professionals you go to for that final phase rehab. That's why we're known as final phase rehabilitation specialists. So in that case, yes, most of our patients do only come to us after being referred, after visiting different professions and realizing, no, that's not the person you need to see through, rather go see a bio. But there are cases where we can be preventative as well.
Okay.
I'll give you the simplest example. Let's take a condition like if a patient or if a person is overweight, right? We all know that being overweight makes you prone to developing type 2 diabetes or even osteoarthritis because of the wear and tear, the excess weight on your joints. A biokineticist can give you an exercise before it goes to that stage where you develop diabetes or osteoarthritis if you're overweight. So rather fix it while you're overweight, rather fix the issue while you're overweight before it develops into something serious like osteoarthritis or diabetes, like I said. So yes, it is kind of what did you say? A reactionary approach, but not always. But most of the time, yes. Final phase.
All right. Okay.
Of healthcare.
That being said, what are the most common what do you call them, cases that the bio comes across in his daily life in the practice?
Bro, the thing with the profession, there's so many. And it depends on what type of niche a bio is in.
Oh, okay.
But I would say the majority of bios get a lot of orthopedic conditions. By orthopedic, I'm meaning, backbone issues. So like back pain or joint issues, back pain, shoulder pain, hip pain, knee pain, ankle pain. So your bigger joints, right? So not so much your wrist or your fingers or your toes. That you'd mostly see, a podiatrist for your toes or an occupational therapist or hand therapist for your hands. We deal a lot with the bigger joints. And like I said, there are bios who focus on metabolic syndromes, like overweight, patients who are obese, patients who are diabetes, patients who have cholesterol. There are bios who deal with special POPs, patients with conditions like cerebral palsy, patients with Parkinson's, multiple sclerosis, so many of these conditions that need a biokinetics assistance where exercise can help. So it depends on your niche. There are biokineticists who solely focus on geriatrics, so older people, older generation, and their biokinetics focus on kind of kinetics, so kids. So it's vast, man. It's very, very vast. And what's so great about biokinetics is that you don't, in order to have a niche, you just choose it. You don't necessarily have to study it. Like like a doctor, for example. A doctor, if he wants to be an orthopedic surgeon, he has to do, after his internship, after his ComServe, he has to do a residency for 4 years and then only then you can qualify as an orthopedic surgeon. If I wake up tomorrow and be like, I don't want to focus on orthopedic cases anymore, I want to focus on geriatric, I can do that. I just change my scope to that, and that's cool. And there's nothing stopping us from practicing all the different niches at one professionals. Obviously, it's better to be, in some cases, it's better to be a master at one or two things than average at many other things, other aspects of the profession. So completely your choice as a professional, as a buyer. Yeah.
So what do you think are the main contributors to, because we live in a generation that's almost not healthy, like the majority of our generation, especially in Southern Africa. The stats are bemusing, man. Yeah, we are not a healthy generation.
Apparently second to America.
Obesity.
That says a lot.
Is it second to America now?
Yeah, America's the only country that has a higher obesity rate than us.
Oh,
I mean, it's terrible.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what are obviously, besides the food, and the sedentary lifestyle, what are the biggest contributors to that? Do you think?
Are you talking about obesity in particular?
Yeah.
You know what it is? It's eating few meals in a day and not exercising. That is what I contribute the most to the reason why South Africans why our obesity rates are so high as compared to everywhere else in the world, right? It's just common. It's very common for South Africans to eat maybe 1 or 2 big meals in a day and use that to power them, to give them energy throughout the day. All right, so you eating what you can, obviously financial reasons and things like that, in the hope that it will power you out throughout the day. The problem with that is that your body has this natural tendency of storing calories at one go.
Yeah.
As opposed to, that's why the first thing when you go to a dietitian that they'll advise you to do, break up your meals. Eat 1 or 2, 3, 4. I mean, eat 4, 5, 6 meals a day as opposed to eating 1 meal a day. That's why, because when you break your meals up, you give your body less reason to store the energy. All right. So that's the one thing. So it's not necessarily what we're eating, it's how we're eating and what quantities we're eating for the few number of times that we do eat. And the second thing, I was going to be honest with you, the majority of us, we're not as active as we would like to be. I know we have a large population of blue-collar workers. A lot of people walk and stuff like that. But what happens is the body gets conditioned to that same exercise, and you gotta do something extra. You gotta do some form of exercise. Put some part of your day dedicated just to exercise. And so that's honestly my the two factors that I can see that's contributing to the high obesity rate in this country.
So definitely how we eat and the lack of movement.
And the lack of movement, brother.
So how do
thinking that eating 2 meals a day is good for you.
Yeah.
Good for weight loss.
Yeah.
But the truth is not that. Any dietitian will tell you eat more times a day, lesser quantities, as opposed to eating 1 or 2 big meals. And also thinking that walking to the taxi rank, working in the factory is exercise. Yes, it is exercise, but again, your body gets conditioned to that. You got to do something different to push your body more.
Because it kind of plateaus.
It plateaus. There we go. That's it. For example, Mo, when you're in great shape, you lift weights. Imagine, do you think you would have reached this stage of muscle mass if you started training at 20 dumbbell chest press?
No.
I'm sure you started when you first started.
Yeah,
the first
definitely.
few months you started 20, but you progressed, right?
Yeah,
and you built bigger muscles and you lost weight. But that's the progression. So you started 20, then you went to 22, 24, 26, etc., etc. Same thing with weight loss. Your body doesn't change unless you give it a reason to change.
That being said,
yes,
right? How do we, as the health and fitness community, contribute to educating people about the science of movement?
I like what you said.
Yeah.
Education.
Yeah.
Good point, my brother. And that's exactly how you do it. Educating, teaching people, making people be aware that exercise is not just one dimensional. It's not either you do it or you don't, if I'm making sense. There's many different ways you can exercise, many different platforms you can use to exercise, okay? So it's not a common excuse. Well, if it's a valid excuse, but people could be like, I don't want to put on my shoes and go on the street for a jog because, this is South Africa, things happen, I might get robbed and things like that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a valid reason, right? But what's stopping you from doing body weight squats, body weight push-ups, things like that. And I understand that certain exercises it require you to do them correctly, all right? Or else you end up hurting for yourself. For example, a squat, hell, even a push-up if you do it right. But we live in the 21st century where the internet is there, okay? And again, not everyone has access to the internet, but you can always find someone who does. And then you just get a few exercises there. And you know what, guys? A little bit is better than nothing. I'd rather you do 15 minutes of exercise, body weight squats, after that push-ups,
and I think that's the most common misconception, right? Because people always think I have to be there for an hour and a half. It only takes
the gym
or whatever you're doing.
On the road, you don't.
Whatever it is, maybe you could be working out from home.
Yeah,
it could be 20 minutes.
It could be 20 minutes.
That little bit counts.
Exactly. And you know what, Mo? You know this as a lifter. You know, there's always those guys. Well, I'm actually one of those guys who's at the gym for 3 hours, but for an hour and a half, he's just yapping his gums. He's just talking,
Yeah.
But the guy who does exercise for 20 minutes will burn more calories than the guy who's just yapping,
Yeah.
So it's not about the time. It's about what you do and the consistency that you do it. Okay. And obviously different exercises burn more calories than others. But pick a type of exercise that resonates more with you. If you're a swimmer, you like to swim, then do swimming. If you've got access to the pool, then do it. If you prefer running, run. If you're a cyclist, I'd rather you cycle. But if all you can do is push-ups and squats because of accessibility and affordability, guess what, buddy? It's better than doing nothing. I commend you way more, and it works. You're burning more calories than you were before, and that's how you're going to lose the weight. Just make sure that when you're doing squats and push-ups, you increase the intensity. So either you increase your sets or your reps, or you decrease the rest. Therefore, you don't plateau, and then you'll lose weight, man. You may not get the fantastic results as someone who's at a gym or who's running 2 hours a day, but you'll be a lot better than where you are now.
Let's talk about the importance of form as a preventative measure.
All right.
Right, because I'm always an advocate for having the right form.
Fantastic.
Because I see some things in the gym, I'm like, ooh, he's about to get hurt.
Is it? Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So let's talk, because now that's when you're hurt. That's when I have to come see you.
Yeah. Exactly. Don't pay me a visit, man. Do it right.
Let's talk about the importance of form. Right, especially in a controlled environment like the gym as well.
Form is everything. Form is so important for two reasons, right? First reason is it's scientifically proven that the better the form, the better the muscle contraction. So the more calories you'll use, the better results you'll get. It's scientifically overweight, over reps, form. Okay. That's the one reason why form is critical. The second reason is injuries. Injuries. Especially poor form on anything that involves the shoulder. The hip, the knee, okay, you might get away with it, but shoulder impingement, most of the time is because people don't know what they're doing. They're doing things wrong, They're pressing wrong, they're swinging wrong, and then that shoulder gets impinged. So in that case, that's the importance of form. Put form before intensity, so weight, as well as sets and reps. I'd rather you do less weight with less reps, but your form is 90% right. You'll do so much better for yourself, and your results will be better too. You'll look better too,
because the ego will tell you other things.
Exactly.
Once you step into those doors, it's a dangerous thing.
Nah, bro.
Exactly. You see it all the time, and I'm sure you guys see it too. Where people come into the gym and they start lifting
crazy stuff.
So it's important for me. I think my takeaway from this is that you leave your ego
and the door. And another thing, back on the ego, I mean, for your experienced lifters who know that you're doing it wrong, like you're squatting like this much, you actually look ridiculous. You look like a clown, because the guy can see that. Okay, all right, maybe your average person who doesn't know what a squat is maybe will be impressed. You got 5 plates to every side, each side, and you feel like the man. You look like the man, but to someone who actually knows what you're doing, what they're doing, what you're supposed to be doing, doesn't look good at all. So it actually could damage your ego.
Definitely. Let's go back a little bit before we end the show. We spoke about aesthetics versus health purposes. Can you join the two? Like, are they mutually exclusive? So can I go only for health reasons, or can I go for aesthetics?
Are you talking for a biokinetics visit?
No, I'm talking for generally as for movement, right? Because when you start training, you have a certain picture in your mind.
Yes.
I want to look like that.
Yes.
Right. But then also, it has to benefit you from a health point of view. But we also know that just because you look healthy doesn't necessarily mean you are
healthy. Yeah.
So let's decipher that a little bit.
Look, the two are often correlated, health and aesthetics, all right? But I like what you said. You can't always judge a book by its cover. As long as you know you're doing as healthy, you're building muscle or getting that aesthetic look as healthy as possible. I mean, guys, we don't have to talk about it, but we know anabolic steroids is unhealthy, and we know it's common. So obviously that's a no-no. They look great, but of course they're damaging their bodies on the inside. Another thing people don't understand is a lot of these supplements. Everyone buys all these supplements without actually reading the back of the supplements, what they're putting in their body, man. If you actually research what's actually in there, you'd be shocked. Sugar, just garbage, man. But most concerning, bro, is the sugar. Weight proteins, all of these things, weight gainers, I mean. So again, that you may be taking that thinking you're doing great, I'm looking good because of that, but then internally, for example, a common one, creatine. That stuff is so bad for your kidneys. No one knows that, but it's great for water retention, making your muscles look bigger. So that there you putting you got to think what's more important. Do I look good or are my kidneys my kidney function?
Yeah.
So yes, it is possible to link the two, but you have to have a subconscious decision and be honest with yourself. Is this healthy or is it not healthy? I want to look good, but I'm gonna at what expense? Okay, you can look good and feel good. Aim for that, and you know what's healthy and what's not healthy. You don't need a bio or doctor to tell you that. Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. One more question I have to ask you.
Okay.
What role does genetics play, right, in injuries? Can I inherit an injury like a weak bone from my parents?
Not really. Well, yes. Let me say it like this,
Yeah.
because remember, an example, weak bones. Weak bones are sometimes influenced by what we call the relationship between what we call osteoblasts and osteoclasts, which are so osteoblasts are the cells that build the bone, osteoclasts are the cells that break down your bone, right? So what happens is when there's an imbalance in your hormones, osteoclasts tend to be more overactive and osteoblasts tend to be underactive. So your bones become brittle. So yes. So based on genetics, someone could be more prone to get an injury or break a bone. This purely through genetics. But not just that. Everyone's muscle origins are different, right? For example, where your bicep inserts is different to where my biceps inserts. It's just the way it is. So the length of the lever or the length of muscles, for example, in the bicep, or wherever it is in the body, meaning that our biomechanics could be different. There could be an imbalance and things like that. So I might get an injury somewhere else, but you may not. Just because the way our joints are positioned, how our muscles pull on our joints, things like that. So yes, genetics does play a role in terms of injury. Yes.
All right. I mean, I think I got all the information that I wanted from this show. And I hope you did the same too. We were speaking about the science of movement with Khensani. He's a biokineticist, and he was telling us, we were elaborating further about how important it is to move your body, especially in the 21st century. Join me next time, me, your boy, on the Health Fix with Mo. Second half. Do it.